Welcome to Richmond, Virginia. We've got Washington, D.C. Sweet Cat and Durham Toro lined up for some high-stakes ultimate. Welcome to Ultiworld's video coverage of the 2021 Richmond Cup Final. Sweet Cat overwhelmed Virginia Trippe in semifinals. The D.C. All-Stars have been dominant all weekend. Led by a breakout performance from Ashleigh Buch and high-level play from their experienced roster, Sweet Cat sliced through Trippe 13-3. They looked primed for the final against a Toro team that fell before them back in pool play. Philadelphia Mayor of Fishtown had been as untouchable as Sweet Cat going into their semifinal against Durham Toro. But it was the North Carolina club that took the early lead on scores like this one from Allan Laviolette to Grayson Santa. Their stampeding defense invigorated their noisy sideline to set off the upset alert. But Fishtown battled back to force Universe point. Heather Zimmerman shot a curving forehand to Sanner, who snagged this gorgeous game winner. 11-10, Toro the final. The cash prize is on the line in the Richmond Cup Final. That's coming up soon. Now to Charlie Eisenhood with Ashleigh Buch, followed by Grayson Sanner.
Sure, you were planning for this Philadelphia team. They end up losing on double game point. So, how do you adjust now and get ready for Toro? Obviously saw them yesterday, pretty comfortable win. I imagine they're going to play a little bit better than they did yesterday. So what's the game plan?
I think just to go out there and play hard, but play smart and chilly. Not necessarily take shots that we don't need to take, but just bring the intensity on defense and just roll that way. So.
People come into this tournament and everybody's chalking it up to the top two seeds, making it to the final. You had a little trouble with this DC team yesterday. How are you feeling now that you've made this final? Of course, I'm sure that was on your mind to come in here and make it and try to get this championship.
Yeah, so like you said, we played them yesterday. We got a few pickups coming in today, so we got some new fresh legs. So it's going to feel good. I think we're going to have a good game.
$7,500 prize on the line. You've already cashed a $2,000 check just by making it to the final, but $7,500, how much extra motivation do you have there?
We're all in. That's poker money. We're all in, baby.
All right, Grayson Sanner, Toro headed to the final. It's coming up next here on Ultiworld.
Ultiworld's coverage of the Richmond Cup is brought to you by Aria Discs. Aria Discs is the official disc of the Richmond Cup. The Aria Uno is designed to be the better Ultimate disc. Approved by USA Ultimate and WIFDIF for competitive play, and the only disc with a 1-for-1 donation model. Choose custom Aria discs for your team or tournament by going to ariadiscs.com. 5 Ultimate. Hammers win games. Play hard. Have fun. 5ultimate.com. VII Apparel Company. VII Apparel Company is home to the Green Line. Custom team uniforms made from 100% recycled plastic bottles. And now VII will plant a tree for every full sub you buy. Go green by going to viiapparel.co.
Thank you, Charlie, as we get set for the opening poll. I'm Keith Rayner, and joined in the booth by Kelsey Hayden for the final of the Richmond Cup. We are underway. Durham Toro in the whites pulling to DC Sweet Cat in the greens. Offense underway. Kelsey, these two teams played earlier in the tournament on Saturday. So we get a potential turnover. Looks like Jenny Fey is going to take an injury. One of the stars of this Sweet Cat team. We'll talk more about their roster as we get into this game. But Kelsey, these two teams played on Saturday, and Sweet Cat with a strong win there.
Yeah, so Sweet and Toro played each other on Saturday, and it was actually a 13-6 win for Sweet Cat, which sounds extremely lopsided, but to be honest, and I hate when people say this normally, but I actually do mean it, it didn't feel as lopsided as that score suggests. It just felt like a few breaks didn't go Toro's way. It was actually a fairly even match, I would say. So it's going to make for a really interesting game today to see how they adjust and change things.
Toro working on a potential first break to get this game off to a much better start than how the last game ended. It's Brian Clark puts it into the end zone for Leroy Olsen, and Olsen gets Toro the game's opening break. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, that's a hot start. You can tell that they have a lot of energy. And I'm very interested actually to see a replay of Jenny Fey's attempted, save, which I assume that we're going to get to see in a moment. I actually think it was pretty close, and I think she might have had a hand on that if we can see a slow-mo.
That looks in to me.
I think that looks good to me. I think that looks in. It's interesting. There was very little to no argument actually about the call, but I think if I was Jenny, I would have argued.
It can be tough to make that argument when you're leaving for injury. Your
totally
focus shifts. But credit to Toro for being able to take advantage of the situation and punch it in with an efficient red zone possession.
Definitely. Great way to start the game.
Fey back out there for this point for Sweet Cat. DC area team is a combo of Washington, D.C. truck stop, scandal players, and based around the Space Heater mixed team as Jeff Wodach slides in for a save on what could have been a really sloppy start for Sweet Cat. Moving the disc up to Fey on the open side, and she's looking deep. Good effort on the run from Teresa Hackett, but the throw a little bit beyond her reach. So the disc will go back to Toro. Another break chance for Durham.
Yeah, a bit of a tough start for Sweet Cat there. I'd argue that Hackett might have been a little deep to put up that throw, but she almost tracks it down.
Offense initiates. Handlers working it back and forth. Jake McGugan and Tanner Barkis working out of their own end zone for Toro, but they don't seem bothered by their field position yet.
Yeah, they're being very patient with the disc.
Strong contest there, a little physical on behalf of Sweet Cat, but another close one. But Toro able to break out of the shadow of their own end zone as McGugan goes across the field. Up the middle to Mary Rippe.
Toro's doing a great job of using the entire width of the field.
Anworth holding on that narrow sideline, tries to squeeze one up the line, but blocked by Hackett, who gets it back on the other end.
That is just such a classic smart poach D. You know, your player runs up line, doesn't get it. They're going to move into a really, not favorable position, so you hang out for the extra second or two. And it really paid off for Hackett just then to get that turn.
Unfortunately, we have our second injury in two such points. This time, McGugan taking one for Toro. Allan Laviolette subs in for him. Jeff Wodach comes off for Sweet Cat, and Nate Pryor takes his spot. Amy Jo over to Fey, who's in just about the same spot as she launched the previous forehand and thinks better of it this time. Energetic defense from much of Toro. Laviolette maybe a little casual on the mark, but that throw a little too casual out of the hands of Bartenstein, and another turnover for Sweet Cat.
Yeah, it looks like teams are just kind of figuring themselves out and trying to get into the game. Toro definitely seems to have a little more energy than Sweet Cat to start.
Laviolette up to Worth. Now Worth and Laviolette just working the disc between the two of them. Anworth has gotten out of her hands instantly, and that helps power the offense as Laviolette drops a hammer across the field for another break. This one in the hands of Tony Gomez. 2-0, Toro leads.
Yeah, that's a big start for Toro, taking the lead 2-0 right to start, especially starting with the break. That's really good for the momentum, really good for the attitude going into this game. It'll be interesting to see how Sweet Cat kind of responds and gets themselves back into it, because you really don't want to get down too quick.
Toro with so much energy, and this break is really a chance for them to build up the momentum even further. This is a tough spot for a Sweet Cat team that probably doesn't have as much cohesion as Toro. Most of these players from Toro are players who played with the team for a number of years. They've a less of a conglomeration of talent like we saw from Sweet Cat. And I think for many people it's a surprise that they even reached the final. But maybe that cohesiveness, that unity is helping them as we get a great pull from Toro. And this is not where Sweet Cat wants to be. Giving up 2 breaks and now starting at the back of their own end zone.
It's an incredible pull. That is, you couldn't write it better.
David Cranston up to Kelly Ross. She gets it out to Sandy Jorgensen. Kelly Highland looking deep. Keys Humes, plenty of room to collect that. Only took a few throws for Sweet Cat and they get out of their end zone and into the other one.
Yeah, what an effort by Kelly Highland there. She throws the huck, and then instead of doing what so many of us do, which is just watch the huck, she sprints down the field, and then she gets the easy dish pass, and then throws the assist as well. So, what a great effort on her part to really command that offense.
Highland, one of the Space Heater members of this Sweet Cat team, makes the tough catch. And like you mentioned, just keeps things moving, gets off a quick shot, but doesn't just watch. Ends up with the assist as well.
Yep, that's a really great play on her part to really throw and go, and then immediately not wait until everyone has a chance to set up the defense, just immediately get it into the end zone for a nice quick point to get Sweet on the board.
Toro's Matt Wilson looking a little frustrated there with the spike of the disc. So, could get a little tricky out there as we see these two teams interact with one another. First look at Toro's offense. Dylan Lanier centering up to Tyler Smith. Grayson Sanner underneath. Immediate give and go. Sanner able to catch it before the poach and now goes across the field, and what a possession for Grayson Sanner and the Toro offense. Very efficient as Dylan Lanier collects a hold.
I love that look. That crossfield flick huck is so nice to watch, but I do always feel like with those type of throws, it's one of those things that if it works, you're like, wow, that's incredible. And if it doesn't, you're kind of like, why did you do that? You actually can hear someone on the sideline shout creative when he throws it, and I think that's pretty accurate. It's a beautiful look, though. Perfect touch on it.
Sanner really is, I think, broken out with this Toro team. He had a really strong Nationals in 2019 with them, putting up 11 scores and 6 assists, 8 blocks. I mean, he was one of the key players for this Toro team coming out of UNC Wilmington. And they're able to put together 46 yards throwing and 36 yards receiving in just his first point of action. Very effective.
Looks like the year-and-a-half break didn't hurt him too badly.
Sanner back on the move. Sweet Cat's offense looking to respond. Looks like kind of a dominator set with Pryor, Bartenstein, and Jenny Fey. And a Toro defender shoots up to disrupt that.
Yeah, this is incredible Toro defense. Just Sweet can't get it off the sideline, sorry. They're really just passing it back and forth between the same 10, 15 yards.
And intercepted by Brian Clark. And now Toro off to the races. Sliding catch by McGugan just a couple yards away from another break, and they get it. Mary Rippe, who was hustling in to break up that initial look from Sweet Cat, gets the reward on the other end with the goal. 4-1 Durham with the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that was, like I said, excellent team defense to start, and then they get rewarded with the turn, which we can see then they quickly move the disc and lots of little dishy passes. Almost get intercepted there. And then, there's a recognition that the defender on the right here is on the wrong side, and so just a quick hard cut will get you open.
That to me speaks to, I think, the Toro's team entity. I think they being able to they had a response for that immediately. They knew exactly what they wanted to do when they saw that Dominator set. And that is something that they may have in their playbook or something that they've seen before, maybe from Space Heater, maybe from other teams. They knew who was going where and they knew what to do about it. And that's an advantage, I think, that a team that has competed together for a couple of years has over some of these teams that are a little more thrown together than we saw on the field here at the Richmond Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that one big difference you'll see between a team that has a lot of familiarity with each other and a team that doesn't is how they handle a transition. And those transition points can be a huge difference maker to actually capitalize on those. When you're just outside your end zone and you get a turn, you absolutely do not want to flounder that opportunity.
This tournament pretty attractive to teams to make some pickups, and both teams do have them. Let's be clear that Toro certainly has some big name pickups in the likes of Anworth and Allan Laviolette, but with the prize money at stake, there's a little more incentive to talk to some of your really talented friends and see if they want to play. $10,000 prize pool on the line here in Glen Allen, Virginia.
Prize pool and ultimate, what is that?
I don't know. It sounds like a summer league team name rather than a real thing that can give you money. Some real defense from Toro as they really have Sweet Cat on the ropes right now. Block from Abe Eichner setting up this defensive possession. Matt Wilson looking for Searles-Bohs to get things moving, but swings the other way instead. Caitlin Gross with the inside break to Anworth, and she continues another goal for Lyra Olsen for Toro, and another break. The route is on right now.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough deficit to make up. Starting a game going down 5-1. Definitely going to give yourselves an uphill battle for the rest of the game. I do think that with a few adjustments, I don't think that Sweet Cat are making gross errors. I think, obviously Kelly Hyland knew that she threw that a little bit too sharp inside. With a few tweaks and maybe, just taking that extra second to make sure the throws are getting off right, I think they can make a big difference and they can get back in this game. I wouldn't say that it's a team collapse happening or anything that we're watching. It's just some subtle errors that need to be fixed up.
Impressive defense on the part of Toro as well. They're taking away a lot of the first looks. We haven't seen Sweet Cat really get one of those quick score rhythmic offenses. Did Humes just drop the pole?
Yeah, I really wonder about that one. That looked pretty close to call, in my opinion.
Nobody on Toro seems to feel like he did, so
I think if you just pick it up with confidence and you keep going, then maybe no one questions it, but that was tight.
We have the benefit of seeing it through the camera lens, maybe that makes it easier.
Yeah.
We're not full sprinting trying to play defense, but Sweet Cat is now advanced nearly to midfield. Ashleigh Buch looking deep for Amy Zoe. But Heather Zimmerman, I believe, gets her hand on that first, knocks it away. Yet another turn for a Sweet Cat offense that is looking for any type of flow.
Yeah, I think that huck was just a tiny bit too late. Too much time for the second defender to come in and track that down.
And there an error on the part of Toro. Rippe trying to slide to save that one, but can't get a completion out of it. Now a short field for Sweet Cat. Could be exactly the remedy for their offense.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity.
Cranston holding outside the end zone. So there's a stoppage from downfield. Cranston, a longtime vet from Truck Stop. As is Jeff Wodach, excuse me. Pryor, inside break, hits Humes. And Sweet Cat gets on the board.
I love that inside break. That's not an easy throw to throw it inside, but to keep it away from the defender, but also inside the field. That was a tight window, which one of those ones, again, that if it works out, it looks amazing, and if it doesn't, it's questionable. But it worked out, and it looked amazing. So that's a big morale booster for Sweet Cat to get another one up on the board.
Humes trying to fire the team up with the big spike, and again, Matt Wilson. Maybe that's Matt's disc. Maybe Matt is hey, can you just talk on my first disc? Now you talk on my second disc. Like, I'm running out over here. But
I haven't been able to
humans,
collect discs for years. Please help.
I know that I don't like to bring too many discs to a tournament because they always seem to end up in someone else's bag.
I actually, as a rule, just do not bring a disc to a tournament because you just don't come home with them. So
It's an effect that happens to all of us all over the world. Dylan Lanier looking to center this one on the brick.
Yes, Allan, don't give up the 3 yards. Let's go.
Lanier checks in. Another one of the pickups for this Toro team. Up to Worth, and she goes to the open side for Sander. Tight window throw to Kieran Allen.
once again,
All
Toro
matchup
using
defense.
the full width of the field really nicely. You know, something I think that Sweet Cat hasn't necessarily done so far.
Absolutely. Toro getting sideline to sideline, making Sweet Cat defend the whole field. And that may open up some opportunities like this, but open opportunities get closed real quickly when Sandy Jorgensen's in the area. She knocks it away.
Yeah, she's a bit of a cheat code, I think. If she's in the back, you gotta be wary of where she is at all times.
Barnstein walks to the cone. Jorgensen sprinting under. And that takes the deep shot. Buch in the area. There's a collision on this one. Buch immediately comes down with the foul call, and doesn't look like there's any contest on the part of Worth.
Yeah, I think that's a pleasant conversation they're having. They both agree what's going on.
Right back into it, Hannah Boone with the disc. No one on the mark. No one's on Alan Kolick either, so they connect for the score.
Yeah, why make it difficult when you can make it really, really easy?
That's all I preach in red zone, Kelsey, is why take hard throws when you can take easy throws?
Gosh, amen.
And this is a hard one.
Yeah, this is a tight throw, and then, like we said, with Sandy tracking it down, that one's going to be difficult to complete. I will say that this huck felt a smidge late, because by the time it was coming down, there were about 8 people underneath it. Buch with the excellent read, and you can kind of see from this angle that there is probably a foul or a strip, however you kind of want to slice it. But both women getting up there for a really incredible play.
I'd be curious to see what Buch ends up doing this club season. Expecting that she may be playing with Space Heater, should they take shape. With Scandal potentially not happening this year, but Buch really feels like a potential breakout player. Really a tremendous athlete, capable of making big plays downfield.
Absolutely. She's a really impressive player during this weekend, and you can see her athleticism in every time she's on the field.
Offense initiating with Tyler Smith to start. Laviolette takes off deep, and Smith floats one around, so the shoe on the other foot now for the Toro offense. Zoe quickly picks up. Gives it right back. Sander able to get the block with nearly the exact same pose as he tried to make the catch. And now a fast break huck from Lanier looking for Sander, but not enough room.
Yeah, maybe just one of those things where you get kind of excited when you do something good, and then you get a little too excited and do something bad.
The thing about that kind of turnover, though, is it's how bad can it be? The other team's got to work the whole 70.
Exactly. If you're going to turn it, you want to make them work the whole field.
Tremonte fouled from behind by Laviolette.
So actually, it looks like they're saying it's not a foul, actually. I think it just slipped out of her hands, but it looked like Laviolette kind of put his hands up saying, like, I didn't touch you. And it seems like they agree.
I feel like in 96% of cases in that situation, it's a foul, and I'm very surprised. But again, nobody disagrees, so I'm willing to trust the players here.
Totally, yeah. No, there seems to be a lot of agreement for every call so far.
Best perspectives, as Ann Worth gets into the end zone yet again. She's a frequent visitor. If the end zone has a loyalty program, Ann Worth's got a lot of points.
She's getting into the lounge.
Sander on the block here and takes off, and like you said, Lanier maybe just a little too juiced on the other end of that.
Just a little too jazzed. So this angle is actually interesting, but Laviolette, I really don't think he touched that.
I still can't tell.
I think it was one of those gets hooked on her finger. You know the feeling. We all know the feeling. It's gets hooked on your feeling. I know it's never happened to you, but it happens to most other Ultimate players.
Couldn't be me, Kelsey. Couldn't be me. Every time that's ever happened to me, it was definitely a foul.
It was definitely not my fault.
There's no replay to disprove that.
That's the beauty of never playing in important games.
6-3, Toro with the lead, trying to work towards that big prize, $7,500 for the winner of this game. That's a hefty chunk of change.
Yeah, that's not bad. I've never played a tournament with that on the line.
Curious if that adds pressure for a tournament that I think otherwise a lot of people would feel like maybe is a bit casual with these types of rosters. It doesn't count for sanctioned USA Ultimate Club season. But there's a lot on the line for these two teams.
Definitely. And the difference in first and second is thousands. Literally thousands. So
not a familiar feeling, I imagine, for any of these players. Although you've got some folks who've played with gold medals and the like on the line. Keys Humes looks deep for Buch, who's got separation and toes the back line. There is that athleticism we mentioned as she collects her first score and makes it 6-4.
Yeah, Buch is just tearing it up out here. She, you can really, like we said, see her athleticism, see her field sense and her awareness. She's cuts, she's kind of cutting straight away from the disc, but manages to read it perfectly, knows where her feet are, gets herself in a position where the defender can't make a play on it. She can just makes it look very easy to reel in. I wouldn't say it was actually easy, but she makes it look so.
The kind of cutter that I certainly want to have nothing to do with on defense because just a hard runner. Every turn, every change of direction is coming at you full speed. And that's just a lot of pressure on any defender.
That's just exhausting. Especially after all this time away, first big sevens tournament in probably a very long time for most of these people. And then you have to compete with someone who's just running nonstop.
I'm gassed just thinking about it.
Honestly, me too.
Tyler Smith trapped on the sideline, goes backwards to Allan. Poach is punished by Roy. Now all the way on the opposite sideline. As we've seen Toro do a couple times now, Laviolette looking deep, but well beyond the reach of Zimmerman, who isn't even going to test that one. Going to conserve the energy.
Yeah, it looks like Zimmerman had already kind of decided that cut wasn't going to be completed before the huck even went up. So really tough when it ends up landing 25 yards in front of you after that.
Veteran savvy from Zimmerman. It's going to save the legs there.
Totally.
They're going to need to try and save possession if they want to keep this advantage that they've earned with so many breaks. It wasn't that long ago. It was 5-1. Toro knocking on the door of a 1-point deficit. Tremonte continues to a slide in Cranston. Goes and gets it back. Crossfield look from Kolick. Drops right in the breadbasket of Christian Boxley. First time we've gotten to say his name, but the Georgetown product comes up with a big goal for Sweet Cat. 6-5 Toro leads.
This feels like a really pivotal moment. Sweet Cat's now within one. They haven't been within one in a while. That lefty flick huck just comes out perfectly, like you said, right in the breadbasket. No contest.
Allan Laviollette's been doing that for a long time. I mean, I remember guarding him as a high schooler in summer league playing in Virginia, but he has had quite a career playing in the D.C. area. And he's got 6 touches, but has turned that into a goal and an assist with 41 yards throwing and 21 yards receiving so far in this one. Barnstein on the pole. Fielded by Searles-Bohs, who's crossing over for Toro, another one of their pickups.
So Toro hoping to be able to take half's at 7 for this game.
one step closer to that big prize. Searles-Bohs holding against the backhand force. Don't think we've seen a lot of this from Sweet Cat yet, but I'm a big believer that every team should try forcing both forehand and backhand in any game that they're playing matchup defense.
Absolutely.
Laviolette curling into the open side. Now back with the disc, and then a give and gone from Searles-Bohs, and he gets over the defender in the back of the end zone for the goal to take half for Durham Toro.
My team always told me that I wasn't supposed to do same third hucks, and I think that was about a same eighth huck. But if they look like that, I think they work.
And that same eighth takes the half as Toro takes a 7-5 lead here at the Richmond Cup. Take another look. LSB on the other end of the score. Toro getting revenge for Saturday's loss. They've come out on fire in this first half against Sweet Cat. We'll see in the second half if they can take home the big $7,500 prize.
Ultiworld's coverage of the Richmond Cup is brought to you by Aria Discs. Aria Discs is the official disc of the Richmond Cup. The Aria Uno is designed to be the better ultimate disc. Approved by USA Ultimate and WIFDIF for competitive play, and the only disc with a 1-for-1 donation model. Choose custom Aria discs for your team or tournament by going to ariadiscs.com. 5 Ultimate. Hammers win games. Play hard. Have fun. 5ultimate.com. VII Apparel Company. VII Apparel Company is home to the Green Line, custom team uniforms made from 100% recycled plastic bottles. And now VII will plant a tree for every full sub you buy. Go green by going to viiapparel.co. Spikeball, the game everyone knows and loves. Spikeball.com. KZ Cooler. KZ Cooler is a cooler and the sponsor of the Richmond Cup. KZs keep your 12-pack cool. Simply grab a cold 12-pack, slip on the insulating KZ, and head out to the after-party with chilly beers. Now available in 12-pack, 24-pack, and 6-pack seltzer sizes. Go crazy for KZ at kzcooler.com.
Toro with the 7-5 lead at halftime. Let's listen in to each team's huddle.
I think you said it at the timeout, but we really need to move it fast, and they seem to be sagging in the lanes every time. So let's just hit that open person, and then we'll be off and running.
Cool. Let's get some water. Go, Cat. Let's go. Sweet Cat. Sweet Cat on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sweet Cat!
Our sideline is bringing it, okay? Woo! On the field, we have to keep up the intensity. Okay?
Oh. Hey, but it's easy to be in it on the sideline when we're winning. When we make mistakes, let's make sure we're bringing that same energy.
Hell yeah.
That same joy to the game. Bring that joy to the game.
This is so fun!
All right.
Salt bath O, bath salt D. Relaxing in a salt bath O? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Salt bath O, bath salt D! Let's go, Toro!
Welcome back to Ultiworld's video coverage of the Richmond Cup. The mixed final. Sweet Cat and Toro taking each other on. Sweet Cat getting ready to pull, trailing 7-5 to Toro. Each team trying to get that $7,500 prize. We saw Todd Curran, the CEO of XII Brands, who's putting on the tournament. Maybe trying to figure out who needs to make the check out to. Maybe starting to think about that.
Kind of looked like he was getting a check signed or he was getting an autograph.
Who signs a novelty check? Do you have to sign a novelty check? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how legit are novelty checks?
I don't think you take it to the bank or anything.
I hope you have to.
See if this deep shot from Grayson Sanders is getting taken to the bank. It is not, unfortunately. There was some sort of deposit error with Tyler Smith on the other end of that one.
Bounce back, unfortunately. I did like the look, though.
Another one of those outside-in forehands from Sander, who's been pretty aggressive. Smith usually in the backfield, but showing the ability to get downfield, but not able to come up with that one.
So now Sweet Cat with the opportunity to close the gap a little more.
First point of the game went to Toro, so maybe Sweet Cat can make the first point of the second half go their way, but they won't do it on this possession as that inside break turns over and gets away from Jorgensen. Quick movement from Toro, gets to the break side, and in the end zone from Lanier to Worth. 8-5, Toro stays in front.
Yeah, that's just the classic case of, Toro gets the break off, and then it's just break down the field. Marks are chasing. You see the last throw there. Another one in the bank for Anworth, sorry. But it all starts kind of up the chain with several throws that get her to that position.
We heard coming in at the half that Durham was talking about maintaining the energy on the sideline even when the team doesn't play well, and there are a couple chances, a couple mistakes that they could keep the energy up, while Sweet Cat a little more focused on their actual on-play actions, trying to open up the field a little bit for their offense, but still having trouble getting those little connections. They're just a little bit off the same way they started the first half, so maybe have to get their rhythm back.
Yeah, just like I said in the first half, it's not that they're making these huge errors. It's just small little misthrows, little mistakes that Toro is capitalizing on every single time.
Toro also making some plays on what could be turnovers as you see Caitlin Gross leap up to pull in a high throw, and then Rippe go down to catch one. So these are the kind of plays that maybe could be the same turnovers that we're seeing from Sweet Cat, but Toro's able to make them on the receiving end. LSB takes that one in as there's a stoppage downfield. Now looking to the end zone, Emma Peasley as this one hangs up, and somehow Peasley comes down with it at the back line.
What an incredible catch. The presence of mind that took to keep it in bounds, to get up at the right time, to read a floaty huck. Oh my gosh, that might be the play of the game.
What an incredible catch. It looked improbable from here. Only Fey's actually really able to get into that one, but with all the other players that Peasley has to think about as she tries to line that up with the line as well, she's still able to make the fantastic catch.
That was incredible too, because as she's running, you can tell she's tracking the disc, and she doesn't actually look down to really know specifically where her feet are until she's coming down with the disc, and for some people that might be a little bit late to do that, but just clearly has exceptional field awareness to know exactly where she is.
Toro with a 9-5 lead as this pull drops in just before the back line. This really feels like a replay of the first half. We saw a very similar possession for Sweet Cat, although a little less defensive pressure this time as they get out of the end zone.
Yeah, both times they've been in that position, basically pinned on their back line. They've handled it quite well. They, keeping calm, collected, just working the disc up the field.
Sweet Cat, maybe not a ton of experience together, but a lot of experience across this roster.
Yeah, I wonder how many cumulative years of experience each team has if you were to add up each individual player's years of playing.
I would love that information. I wonder which one of these teams that is. It's tough to say. Fey catches it in the middle, and certainly she would be one of the leaders on that statistical board, as would Alan Kolick, who now has it. Sweet Cat entering the red zone. Kolick able to break some ankles to get up the line, and then flips it over. Bernstein for the score.
I love that deking from Kolick. That's like a tutorial on how to deke your way up the line, get open. Like you said, break some ankles. You can see it here. He just quick little jab backfield, totally gets his defender on his heels. Then a cheeky little dish to jump into the end zone.
Kolick maybe doesn't have the same explosiveness that he had a few years ago, has had some injuries over the course of his career, but still showing that he has picked up the wiles to make the same kind of big plays, even if it's not quite as splashy. He's got 9 touches in this game and 2 assists and a goal with 56 yards throwing to his name.
Well, that ain't too dang bad.
Jenny Fey
Some
leading
huge gainers
Sweet Cat,
here.
unsurprisingly, with 76 yards throwing so far and 127 receiving.
Wow.
Foul call as Laviolette holds, and I don't know if he's trying to communicate the hammer or fake it, one or the other during that stoppage. But he goes backwards to Kieran Allen instead.
Toro got up the field with some huge gainers, just 2-3 passes, and they're already 2/3 of the way up, although they're kind of back a little now.
And we just haven't seen that from Sweet Cat's offense. The Toro offense has been able to get open on that open side. They've been able to attack and generate momentum on offense, and now an attack to the cross field by none other than Grayson Sander again. Gets another assist, hitting Kieran Allen to make it 10-6.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deal with throws like that. I'm really enjoying seeing him kind of slicing and dicing the defense here. Just huge hammer, well read. 2 defenders nearby, but they can't get their hands on it.
Second assist for Sanders. Also second on the team in receiving yards as well so far. He's trailing only Anworth.
Toro just doing a great job. Interesting. Toro doing a great job, like we said before. They're just keeping their energy up every point. They're running as hard as they can. The transitions are quick. It's, the momentum and the energy is on their side right now.
This is a very different experience for Sweet Cat. They were dominant in pool play. I think they gave up something to the tune of 20 goals or something across their entire pool play. And now they have been behind the 8 ball for pretty much this entire game. I think they got as close as 6-5, but the deficit for the most part has been pretty sizable since the beginning.
Absolutely. I mean, they only let Toro get 6 goals yesterday.
Well, it is a different ball game right now with the money on the line. Fey able to squeeze open underneath. Gets over to Humes, the former Donovan nominee from Williams, as we get another stoppage as Fey gets up the line.
I have to say that every call that we've seen being made and every conversation has seemed totally amicable and very, easy conversations, which is nice to see.
Yeah, they say the money changes people, but
money talks.
Hasn't made these players any less spirited so far. Big bid there from Brian Clark, but can't come up with it, and looks like some legs tangled on an ensuing cut, and Clark calls an offensive foul against Cranston.
Yeah, even though I'm sure they're not super happy, they seem to still figure that out pretty quickly.
I do think that kind of play, though, is emblematic of the pressure we've seen, and here the stall count climbing because of Toro's defensive prowess. They've been on the hips of these offensive players from Sweet Cat.
Absolutely. Nothing has been easy for Sweet Cat.
And Fey curling around the mark. I'm surprised, perhaps, not to see a pick call there, but maybe just had so much separation that at that point the defender felt like they didn't even justifiably have a defensive play on it.
Yeah, I mean, she's really utilizing all the space on and even outside the field, and it works. It's a funny little route to get there, but she got there, and that's a point.
There we see the different interactions between Clark and Cranston, and then, to me, I even looking at that now, that feels like a textbook pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could have been a pick, and if someone else was making the call, but perhaps that's a little bit of karma because, as we said earlier, Jenny Fey did catch that disc that was called out in the very first point.
It all comes around.
That's just a little, exactly, disc doesn't lie, little little karmic.
Three of my
evening.
least favorite words in Ultimate. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, I bet I could think of more.
Probably not safe for this broadcast. Worth coming underneath. Gets it up to Laviolette. Ambitious throw here from Laviolette to Lanier. Gains a lot of yards.
Yeah, I love that.
And then just tucks it in for another carry down goal. So not the traditional route to the end zone again. This time it's Toro making that unusual trip, but the destination same.
What do they say? You take the road less traveled and you get rewarded.
I think that's it. I think that's.
Does that apply here? that was about Ultimate, I think.
I didn't expect a lot of Robert Frost references here, but
I just expect the unexpected when I'm doing the commentary.
Liam Searles-Bohs getting ready to pull.
Go, White! Here we go, White!
Initiating offense now over to Highland.
Really starting to feel like crunch time for Sweet Cat to make their move. The game's going to 13, so Toro only has 2 left. Sweet Cat has 6.
Another sliding catch. We have seen a lot of those on the part of Sweet Cat.
Definitely.
I'm a big fan of the slide, especially perhaps on this turf. Wodatch looking deep for Fey. And no slide's going to save that distance beyond the reach of Fey, and disc will go back to Toro.
And as we said earlier, you don't want to turn over, but if you're going to turn it over, you want to make the other team go the full 70.
Lots of room for Zimmerman to put it up. She's going to try and get most of that 70 in one try, but it bounces out of the hands of Barkas. But given right back. McGugan intercepts an overthrow from Highland. So a couple quick changes of possession. We'll see which team can slow things down and take advantage of the chaos. Maybe I spoke too soon. Maybe slow is not the right word. It's a little redemption for Barkas as he puts the forehand to the backside and Searles-Bohs juggles with his head a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we could call that slow, but like I said before, I do love a big crossfield flick huck, and that the vision that takes, I really like. Perfectly read too by the receiver. It's important to have the right receiver on the receiving end of that. That was a very close catch we just saw. Just right off the hands, but it ends with Toro scoring anyways.
Nice, I'm sure, for Barkas to be able to throw a pretty assist after that drop.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And you see LSB eyes up the line, make sure he's got the room, because there's no defender in sight as he brings that down. Jenny Fey, of course, one of the stars of this team for Sweet Cat, and they're going to need her as their backs are against the wall. She's going to catch her breath and hope that her teammates can keep this game going so she can get on the field and continue to play as well as she has.
Yeah, it's going to be a long march back for Sweet Cat.
Tyler Monroe gets it, and he is looking deep, and no one within a mile of Ashleigh Buch as she tracks that one down, turning on the Jets, and the runway was cleared. Another score.
Yeah, maybe it won't be such a long road with looks like that. Ashleigh Buch already had a little separation, and then, like you said, once she turned on the Jets, she really could not be touched. Just a couple of passes, she looks back, she sees it coming, and like you said, there's no one within a country mile.
That's some separation. You see Buch just a little hesitation move right there, and then takes off. Mm-hmm. And that initial move was just enough to create a lot of space.
Absolutely.
Any thrower is going to want to throw into a window like that.
And any thrower is going to want to throw to a receiver like Buch. I mean, she's more than proven that she's a very capable receiver on this team.
They may need some more big plays from her to get back in this one. Highland with the pull. Been great to see Sweet Cat using the FEMA matching players to get some of these pulls off. Hoping we see more of that as we've seen some rule changes that may make their way into increasing popularity.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's an excellent rule. It's great. I mean, the pulls have been great by everybody, so why not?
That throw may be leaving something to be desired, however. It doesn't quite meet the bar for great as Laviolette tosses that one out of bounds, looking for Zimmerman. So these are the kind of opportunities
Always
Sweet
tough.
Cat needs. All that money was right
Absolutely.
there.
Exactly.
Holland with lots of room. Helps free them off the line. And now this is exactly what Sweet Cat was talking about in their halftime huddle, getting the disc moving by getting around that initial defensive pressure. Pick downfield as David Boylan Colchin holds. Inside break to Buch. And Sandy Jorgensen attempting target as well. And that's exactly what Sweet Cat needs at a time like this to get another goal to make it 12-9.
Definitely, and I think Sweet Cat really did kind of what we've been waiting for all game, which is just kind of make it easy on themselves. You know, hit the open player, not overcomplicate things. Just, you know, short, kind of some short gainers up the field and make it simple. And it really paid off, and it was a nice, easy O point. Ashleigh Buch being an integral part of it again. And then, like you said, to one of the best receivers you can find, which is Sandy Jorgensen.
You'd like to see Sweet Cat be able to take advantage of having that size and speed combination from Jorgensen and Buch more frequently. It's something that I think they maybe haven't gone to as much. And those are not the only tall, athletic women matching players on this Sweet Cat roster. Certainly there's speed on that side for Toro, but not as much size, I'd say. And it's not something that we've seen Sweet Cat be able to take advantage of, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Toro's done a better job of using their matchups and just kind of, like you said, just keeping it simple.
Zimmerman.
So Toro.
Looking cross field for Buch out. Toro looking for the game-clinching hold as Sander advances the disc to LSB.
I wonder if they can smell the money on the line.
You got to think that if it goes up to the end zone, it's a $7,500 catch right there.
Exactly. They got 15 yards to make $7,500.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Sweet Cat, however, doesn't want to see that payoff. Lanier with a little flip, and that is all it takes. Heather Zimmerman collects the cash with that one. She secures the bag, as the kids say, with the score to make it 13-9, and a very impressive performance from Durham Toro, really turning things around from yesterday's matchup with Sweet Cat with a great win here.
Yeah, what a huge comeback after the Saturday game. But you can see that they clearly focused on the right things when they came into this matchup. They came in with the right amount of energy, the right amount of effort. And their energy kind of just went unmatched throughout the entire game. Not to say that Sweet Cat wasn't, trying to challenge things. And in that last point, I think you could really see that they were kind of focused on the big picture defense and let that last little dishy pass slip, just as it happens so often. You kind of get really lost in the moment, and then you miss something tiny like that. But it was an excellent game, and really fun to see how things changed from the day before.
Absolutely, Kelsey. A great game. Toro gets the win. Let's go to the sideline to hear from the victors themselves.
Hello, this is Steve Sullivan reporting with Ultiworld from the Richmond Cup. We're here with Tanner Barkas and Heather Zimmerman of the Champions Triangle Toro. They defeated DC Sweet Cat 13-9 in the final at Glover Park. Tanner, what's this victory like?
Well, all credit to, I think people brought intensity, effort. We lost to Sweet Cat yesterday, so we were excited to get another crack at them, and we were really just impressed by everyone's. I mean, it really was just energy from start to finish, really, especially coming out of half and continuing to like work hard and really foot on the gas pedal. Yeah, it was just like effort all around.
Yeah, I think the effort really stood out, especially in the difference from yesterday. Did you make any adjustments from the game yesterday where the score was about flipped?
So I really think we started out stronger. We had some help from some pickups, and I really just think our sideline was a lot better. We were a lot more intense. We were in it the whole game. I think yesterday we got down and we just kind of carried that momentum. Today we got up and we kind of carried the high.
Fantastic. So you've just won this $7,500 check from XXI brands for the weekend and the victory. What do you think you'll do with this cash?
We were just talking about how unprepared we were to answer this question. We were thinking probably a team fund. We are going to be traveling out of state. We'll be going to Colorado in just under a month. So potentially helping people pay for flights. We may have a slightly younger team this year. So as much as we can probably help the team and reinvest it in the season, I think it's probably a tentative plan, but TBD.
I think also we're going to get some money back to the players that participated this weekend. So we just haven't figured out exactly how we're going to allocate the funds. Yeah.
Fair enough. Looking ahead to the rest of the season, what kind of crew from this group will maintain forward with Toro? Do you have kind of goals and expectations for your season beyond this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the majority of this team is the core of Toro that'll be coming back for the season. We have several players who weren't able to make it out for this tournament, but I mean, we're expecting to build on what we've been building the last couple of years. I mean, it doesn't show, but 2018, 2019 Nationals, both of those tournaments, we were 1 point away from making pre-quarters both years. So we know we're close. We think we're going to have a really, really good team this year. So we just want to keep building, establishing systems, and teaching the whole way.
Yeah, I think you said it all. Yeah.
Fantastic. Tanner Barkas, Heather Zimmerman, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Congratulations. We're out of here from the Richmond Cup. Thank you.
I'm joined now by Todd Curran, the CEO of XII Brands and the tournament director here at the Richmond Cup. Todd, what a tournament. $10,000 prize purse. No one's ever done anything like this in Ultimate since maybe the Jose Cuervo series back in the early 90s, late 80s. What prompted you to want to put together a tournament that had a big prize at the end like this?
It's the only way to get teams to come out and compete, I think, and it's been wanted by the community for a very long time, and it really just came together nicely, and I feel like the $10,000 cash prize or cash purse was 100% worth it to get these teams to come out here and compete.
Well, and this tournament kicks off the season, basically. I mean, this is kind of the return to play for the club scene. Like, we saw teams take the field for the very first time this weekend. What was the vibe like for you being out here and seeing Ultimate kind of reviving and coming back in the beautiful weather here in Virginia?
I mean, it's been fantastic. Just the rebirth of the sport of Ultimate is really fantastic. You know, the pandemic hit our company very hard, as well as many others, especially in the sports world with everything shutting down. So getting back on the field, seeing everybody laughing, playing, having a good time, it was just fantastic to just make something happen after a long, long time.
No kidding. Now, what's the future of this tournament hold in store? Are we going to see Richmond Cup coming back in the future?
Definitely. So working with the Parks and Rec department here in Enrico to try to figure out what the calendar looks like for next year. Definitely going to invite all the teams to come back, and hopefully more teams will show up.
All right, Todd. Well, a fantastic, beautiful weekend here in Richmond. Exciting tournament on the field. All these teams playing super hard. It was awesome. Any final thoughts?
Let's just hope we can just keep playing Ultimate, because that's what everybody wants to do.
Todd Curran, CEO of XII Brands, tournament director here at the Richmond Cup, here with us on Ulti World.
The Richmond Cup champion has been decided and the prize is awarded. Thank you for watching Ulti World's video coverage. Ultimate is back, and it should be a fun summer seeing its new stars and celebrating the game's best returning to the field. For Kelsey Hayden, Charlie Eisenhood, and the entire Ulti World crew, I'm Keith Rayner, and we'll see you at the field.